Can the media help us to get out of our bubbles? I'm talking to Jędrzej, who works on a project designed to do exactly that. Hello, Jędrzej. It's very nice to talk to you.
Hi.
Could you introduce yourself? Who are you? Where are you from? What do you do?
My name is Jędrzej. I'm from Poland, and mainly I work as a teacher. I teach in high school. I teach economics. I'm a homeroom teacher, but my part-time job is a journalist. I write articles. I write books. And that's where the polarization came to my life, because I was really frustrated with the way journalism works in Poland, and I guess around the world right now. Where it's really difficult not to be entrenched in this sort of war, or so-called war, between different sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
And when I started with the Spinger project, I quit my daily job at a newspaper, because I wanted to be more impartial to the project.
Yeah, so you set up Project Spinger, you got involved in it a while back ago. Can you tell me a bit about it? How did it start? When did it start?
So the project is about 5 different magazines that came together to collaborate in a way, in the following way. Every couple of weeks, we pick a topic, and every magazine will write a piece on that topic. And then on one day, all magazines are going to publish all pieces. So you're going to have a left-wing magazine that publishes left-wing perspective on separation of state and the church, or on climate change, or on constitutional crisis. But they will publish also the Republican side, the Catholic side, the liberal side of the debate, and the same is going to happen on the right-wing side. The right-wing medium will publish left-wing perspective. All of them will be available at all sites at one time. So this is really, technically, it's really easy to do. But I think now, 3 years later, I think we can say that it achieves a lot of things. First, for readers, if you are a reader of just one of these magazines, every other month you'll be confronted with a new perspective, right? And it's easier for you. You don't have to go around the web, look for different media outlets. Maybe you don't have time. You just like this one particular medium, and still they're gonna hand to you other perspectives. I think that's nice. The second thing is for writers, for journalists. Now, every day they can write for their readers. It's easy. You're writing for people that are sort of already convinced. Like I said, they like your content, they like your article even before they read it. But every other month you have to write for people who are not at all convinced by your arguments. You have to write, so that's a challenge, to write in a way to present a perspective and arguments that not to your own choir, not to your own audience, right? So that's the second nice thing for the writers, for the journalists. And I think from what I see, that's really attractive for people in all these magazines, right? That it's a nice challenge to write in this different way, to try to convince or to present a sound art, because maybe it's not always about convincing other people, but maybe it's about presenting a sound argument to someone who would like to just disagree with you and say that you're a moron to think in that way, and you're able to present an argument that makes sense. And maybe it's not your argument, you won't be convinced, or I'm not going to be convinced by your argument, but after I get in touch with that, after I read it, now I can see your point. It's not my point, but now I can understand your perspective. So that's the third thing. So we have something for the readers, we have something for the writers, and on a more symbolic level, something happens. I think that it happens, that we in Spinger we show that it's possible. It shows that it's possible to engage in that sort of debate and that sort of dialogue, where the aim is not to convince the other side necessarily, or to find, at the end, to find out that, the truth lies somewhere in between, we were all wrong, and now we can, no. You can, at the end of the debate, you can stick to your own side, your own argument, but let's have a space in which we can all hear each other. Let's have a space in which we can engage in that sort of dialogue, where at the end of conversation, I'm gonna hear you, and I'm gonna feel that you heard me, right? And it's like, and from personal life, that's one of the most important things, like, right, in our friendships, our relationships, that's to hear and to be heard. That's the basic founding element of, I guess, of many, if not all, good relationships. And somehow we lost that, or we are in the process of losing that on the level of society. So Spinger is a kind of exercise. It doesn't solve the problem. I don't want to say that we found this way that's gonna, or the solution, the golden solution to this problem. But I think it's a nice exercise which shows us as the participants and shows the people around us that it is possible.
And how's the response been so far from the readers, from the writers?
I sort of expected that we are so much entrenched, so much engaged in the trench war between different parties, different ideologies, that this cooperation between different magazines, it's gonna feel and it's gonna be taken by a lot of people and readers as treason, And after the first issue of Spinger, you could read those comments. Yeah, you traitors, you work with these Stalinists, what's gonna be next? Or, yeah, these are fascists, how you can work with them and sit at the same table and engage in polite conversation? But so you did have these comments, but the thing that I didn't expect was that for every one of these comments, you could see 5, 6, 7 people responding, saying this comment is the best proof that we need this project. If the sole fact of people sitting together and having conversation feels to someone like a treason, that means that we really, really need that. And with this metaphor of how can you sit at the same table with someone whose views you oppose? Well, for me, the fact is that you already sit at the same table. If we think about public sphere as a table, if that metaphor is valid in any sense, if the table is public sphere or the table is society, you already sit at this table with people you don't agree with. And the thing you can choose, you either try to listen to them and try to understand them and try to present your points, and you acknowledge the fact that you all sit in the same room, or you do this and you stick with the people that are closest to you. And I think that the first option is not the easiest one, but probably more fruitful.